Hello folks, welcome to another episode of Tweefers Tech. Today we're going to be looking at the Galaxy Note Edge. I'm actually someone that used the Note 3, used the Note 2 and the Note 1 previously to that. This seems to be the obvious upgrade for myself. I couldn't really justify going from a Note 3 to a Note 4, but with an Edge, obviously it is a Note 4. But with additional feature, which is the Edge screen. If you live in the UK, you know that Vodafone were the early provider that had this phone exclusively, so it was very hard to get hold of, hence why it's taken me this long to get hold of the phone. That's saying that I'm not a mug. I'm not going to go to Vodafone and pay extortionate prices. I've gone through O2 via Carphone Warehouse, as Carphone Warehouse has now exclusively got the rights, not the rights, but you can get it through Carphone Warehouse at EE and O2, but you can't get it directly from O2 and EE. You have to go through Carphone Warehouse. Before we continue, we're looking at the specs briefly. 32 gig internal storage with a Quad HD Super AMOLED screen. We've got the 2.7 GHz quad-core processor and a 60 megapixel rear shooter with a 3.7 megapixel on the front camera. Comes with the standard stuff, the headphones and the plug, which is also now a fast charger plug, and I'll speak about that very shortly. Let's have a look at the device. I'm just going to quickly go through the hardware features. You can see they've adapted more of a premium metal finish. It's got a bit of a die-cast look to it, but it is metal. They've still got the faux leather finish, which is very similar to the Galaxy Note 3. I've no issue with that because it is still a removable back, and you can change the battery and expendable storage. Over here, the USB 2, they've adapted the USB 2 rather than the USB 3, which I really enjoyed using on the Galaxy Note 3. But I believe they had to do this in order to have the fast charging option, so I'm not too bitter about that. Volume rocker on the left. A new thing is the actual standby button at the top of the phone. I don't have an issue with it, but I know some people don't like it too much. Personally, I hold the phone with two hands all the time, so it doesn't cause me too much of, too much hassle really. S Pen down here feels just as good as always. The actual phone itself, I bought a couple of bits to make it a bit better. I bought some cases, which I'll look at in a minute. But I would recommend getting a Samsung SD micro card. Like most of us, I had a SanDisk card, which was a 64 gig and SDHC one, and it was a Class 10 one. It was a very good card. For some reason, though, the new generation of Samsung handsets just don't seem to get along with it. I've reformatted it quite a few times, and it just didn't like it. I've tried it on a Note 4, and I've tried it on a Galaxy S, and they also don't seem to like it. So, as annoying as it is, you are going to have to get a Samsung official card. Conveniently, obviously, it is a Samsung one. So I'm not exactly sure what's causing that, but if you have a SanDisk, you're going to have a bit of bad luck, and I would back it up before you move on to another card like I had to. Before we carry on, we'll look at some of the cases, because as you can see, this is quite a a slick device, but I wouldn't trust myself going outside with this. Before we carry on, I've got a couple of cases. I did a few reviews. I'm not a big fan of flip cases, and I like the sort of the round rubbery cases normally, because they don't take away the looks of the phone as much, and they're just a bit more practical. I looked at this company. I don't know if it's pronounced Rink or Rinka. I'm not exactly sure. Forgive me if I got that wrong. But I looked at this, and it was getting a lot of really good reviews, and it's quite a cheap entry-level case. Bung this on quickly. Thing is, this case itself, the see-through crystal one, it's probably going to look better on a white phone. As comfortable as this fit, I don't think it really goes with the charcoal black phone. It does fit really nicely. It is very secure, but that was an error on my side. I just don't think it goes very well. So what I did was, I was very predictable, and I got the same case, but in the black one. However, the black one itself, same company, has a bit of a unusual rubber. No, it's more like a leather finish. It's kind of very reminiscent of the wallets you used to get for the old BlackBerry phones. It does feel quite like a leather finish, but I don't think it's real. But it's good enough. So if we put this in, this actually makes it feel a lot more secure and a lot more stable. It goes in very easily. And it just makes it feel a bit more substantial, and I feel very comfortable holding this case. So if you're looking at a case that will cost you no more than £15 including postage, I found this on Amazon, and it's called the, however you pronounce it, Rinka Flex S. I fully recommend this, as I'm not a big fan of flip cases. I don't think they're very practical. They get in the way when you use them as a camera. Anyway, let's have a look at the phone. I'm not going to go through all the features, because if you're a Samsung user, you know about TouchWiz, you know that you're probably going to have the latest version of Android like I do. I've got 5.01. I can't compare what it was like before, because I didn't have the phone before the new Android update came out, but as you can see, I've kept it very clean and simple. Because of the edge screen, I can use my home screens purely for widgets. I've not got a single shortcut on here, so all the widgets I use, I've got them on here. Notification panel is pretty much the same, but the edge screen does come in quite useful at times. As you can see, I've got my favourite apps along here. So these are the apps I use from time to time, and when you click on it, it just brings it up onto the main screen. I've got a few more edge screens. I've got instant call access. It's kind of lazy, but it's just a bit of a convenience. If I want to call Christopher, it will call him straight away, but I don't want to talk to you just yet. Let's see what else we've got. Twitter trends, so you click on the topic, takes you through to the Twitter app onto that relevant subject. Instant messaging, I've got my bookmark saved here, so if I want to go to a web page rather than going into the browser, I'll just click on the bookmark and it will load up the bookmark straight away, like so. It's quite a handy feature to have. Let's see what else we've got here. There's other screens you can add on to this, but I've just customized it as a little memory game that they've got installed. So, it is quite a handy feature to have. And as you can see, when I had it on standby, it's also got like a bit of a, I think, Express tab. So I've got here like my own little custom message that you can do yourself, add your own little logo. And I've got the setting where at 10 o'clock at night, you can change what time you want this dim clock to be on display. And I've got it from 10 o'clock till 6 in the morning, and it doesn't use up that much battery at all. So it's quite a nice feature to have. There is a way to get the weather reading on this. Haven't quite figured it out yet, but you can basically have the weather with notifications there as well. I'm still getting used to that. The actual phone itself, like I said, it's got a new version of Android on here with 5.01. It's nice and smooth. Honestly, I have not had a single bit of lag on this whatsoever. Had no issues with it. Nothing's force closing. I'm very happy with the handset itself. In terms of battery, it is slightly smaller than Note 4. You do notice a little bit of a difference. It's not a huge difference. I would say it's very similar to the battery power of the Note 3. What I would recommend is with the quick charger that you get with the actual phone, I would recommend not to use that as your overnight charge. I find that if you use your quick charger too often, it takes away the life of your battery. So I'd recommend to use any generic micro USB charger overnight, and if you can, turn your phone off, because you'll really get more out of your battery that way. And take your quick charger with you when you go to work, when you go to school, college, whatever, and it tops up so quickly. I was on 20%, I plugged it in for half an hour, and it was 95% within that time. So that gives you an idea as to how quick it is. But overall, like I said, I've had the phone for a couple of weeks now. I'm very happy with it. It does get a lot of attention. I hope Samsung do come out with some more features on the edge screen. I personally believe the edge screen on this one is better than the Galaxy, whereas the Galaxy is a smaller phone, so there's not much that you can play around with, and it's not as many functions on the edge screen. It is a very pretty looking phone compared to the Note Edge, but I find the edge screen on this device has more features and is just more productivity, really, if that makes sense. But if you are like me, you're on Note 3 and you're considering upgrading, you've got that option. The sensible option is to wait until the Note 5 comes out. We all know that's going to be with us at no later than December 2015. But if you're like me and you just want the latest bit of tech and you don't mind committing to another contract and losing money, then I would choose this over the Note 4 personally. But the Note 4 is just as good. It's just the Note 4 with a case doesn't look any different than a Note 3. This just stands out, and if you like your tech candy, I fully recommend it. Well, thanks for your time anyway, and I appreciate you viewing my video. Please feel free to leave any comments and stay tuned to my next video. Thank you.